Now we are going to start risk management. In this risk management, we'll see the fundamental definition, then we'll see how it is identified, controlled, or what are the plannings possible. So first, risk management is basically concerned with identification of various kind of risk and then drawing up what are the plans that could be possible to minimize the effect of that risk on that project. Thereafter, the project management manager is the person who actually deals with such risk and the effect of that risk on the project. And the manager keeps on monitoring these type of risk and take actions and whenever there is a problem that takes place. What are the three things that a project manager do? It tries to check out anticipated risk, and then it also understands what are the impact of these risks on three kind of things like project, the effect on the product, and the impact on the business. Then the project manager would do the steps to avoid these type of risk. Next, what are the three classifications that are being possible for the risk? So there are basically three different type of risk, and there are two different dimension of risk classification. So what are the two different dimension of risk classification? The type of risk like technical risk, organizational risk, or various kind of risk. Then what are the effect of all these risks? So the effect of risk are being studied. So these are the two main dimensions which actually classifies the risk. Then what are the main important classifications other than this are like project risk, product risk, business risk. In the project risk, affected resources or schedules would be affected for the project risk. In the product risk, the quality and performance of the system would be affected. In the business risk, the organization that are developing that product or system would actually be affected. Then the risk management process has these four steps. First, the risk was being identified, and then identified risk on the whether it's on the project, product, or business. Thereafter, risk analysis would takes place, means accessing means measuring the likelihood or consequences of these risks. Then thereafter, planning what are the plans to avoid all these kind of risk and minimize the effect of these risks. Thereafter, risk monitoring is also possible. That what are the risks that are being possible and what are the how to monitor them and how to throughout the project we can monitor all these risks. Then we'll see all these things in detail, like risk identification. The team activity is to for an individual project to how the experiencing of that risk will be taking place, and then the identification could be done. So the team members or the individual can identify based upon their project manager's experience. Then the checklist they have to create, the common risks that are being possible that could be identified in the project, that like technological risk, organizational risk, people risk, requirement risk, and estimation risk. Then after identification of risk analysis was being done, means measurement of the probability or seriousness of each risk, assessing the probability or seriousness of these risks. Then measuring the probability whether it's high, low, moderate, very low. So all these things are being done in the risk analysis. Then the risk consequences, that what are the consequences possible? It might be catastrophic, serious, tolerable, or insignificant. Then next, in the planning, risk planning, so what they do the consider each risk and develop some strategy to manage those risks. What are the three fundamental strategies? First, avoid those risks. Avoidance strategy. In this, the probability of the risk will of arising of that risk would be tried to be reduced. Means the risk should not arise at all. This was the attempt or strategy in the avoidance strategy. Then minimization of the strategy, minimization strategy. Then if the risk has been arised, then the impact of that risk on the project or the product should need to be reduced. Thereafter, in the third part, contingency plan. If the risk has been arised and the all the things are been having the undergoing through the risk, so there has to be a contingency plan that avoids the and deals with that risk. How to deal with that risk means the monetary contingencies like human resource contingencies, etc. Then monitoring the risk means assessing and measuring the identified risk regularly so that you can get the information whether or not it is becoming less or more probable to be happen that kind of risk. So all these type of measurement keep on going regularly basis on day to day or monthly to monthly, weekly to weekly. Then accessing means measuring whether that effect of that risk has been changed or not changed. Then the key risk should need to be discussed me or have to go through thorough decisions with the management team that are being progressing with all these meetings about that risk. Then next we'll see the requirements specification. I hope that the risk management was being clear to all of you. Thanks. We'll see the specification that are being developed for the